For anyone who has played Tenchu 2 Birth of the Stealth Assassins, Tatsumaru will have been a standout character. His incredible skill, his apparent betrayal and his eventual tragic redemption, it's one of the most memorable character arcs in the entire series. But have you ever thought about how the gameplay itself conditioned you to feel every beat of his story? Let me explain, but before I do that, this video will of course contain spoilers for all 3 campaigns in Tenchu 2. You have been warned. And if deep dives into classic game lore is your thing, consider subscribing to the channel as I've got plenty more videos like this one planned. To backtrack a little, Tatsumaru was an orphan child taken in by Azuma Shionsai, master of the Azuma Ninja Clan. Shionsai recognised his extraordinary talent and trained him to become his successor. Tatsumaru was held in extremely high regard by the younger Azuma trainees, Rikimaru and Ayame, who saw him as the ideal Azuma ninja. During the events of Tenchu 2, the Goda family is thrown into a bitter internal rebellion. The Azuma Clan has served the Goda family for generations, and as the conflict begins, Master Shionsai decides that Tatsumaru is ready to assume leadership of the clan. He bestows upon him Izayoi.
Tatsumaru, it is yours. Today, you replace me as Master Ninja. May honor guide your hand.
The legendary sword said to embody the spirit of the Azuma Clan and serve as the symbol of its leadership. It is a literal and symbolic passing of the torch to the new clan leader. The game is deliberately seeding the thought in our mind that Tatsumaru is the idyllic aspirational figure at the end of his hero's journey. What's fascinating here isn't just Tatsumaru's story, it's how the game carefully controls what the player knows about it at any given stage of the narrative. As the plot progresses, Tatsumaru first meets Kagami, a formidable kunoichi and leader of the rival Nyugetsu ninja clan, who tries to sway his loyalty. At this point, he is still everything Master Shionsai raised him to be: disciplined, loyal, and completely committed to the clan. Further events unfold, and Tatsumaru defeats Lord Toda, Kagami's own lord. Kagami herself executes her own master before proclaiming the birth of the Burning Dawn, a movement where ninja answer only to themselves. Tatsumaru again displays his steadfast loyalty, rejects her vision, and the two clash. But before the battle can be resolved, the cliff beneath them collapses, sending both into the sea. The game refuses to show us what happens next, allowing us to assume that Tatsumaru has died heroically fighting. The game continues to build the vision of Tatsumaru as the incorruptible perfect agent of good, even to the point of laying down his own life. Every interaction we see enforces this. Throughout the first 2/3 of the game, we only see Tatsumaru through the eyes of the other 2 protagonists. The player forms their opinion based on what Rikimaru and Ayame are exposed to. We see his great skill, we see him selected as the new leader of the clan, entrusted by Shionsai to carry the honour of the clan forward, and soon we watch him apparently throw it all away. 3 months pass, and the Azuma ninjas return to their normal work. Believing Tatsumaru to have died in the collapse of the cliff, Rikimaru picks up the mantle as clan leader. During their separate campaigns, Rikimaru and Ayame both encounter Tatsumaru again. However, in a shocking twist of fate for the player, he is now going by the name Siru, claims to be a lord of the Burning Dawn, and has no memory of his former life. This narrative twist is extremely effective at this point in the game because we as the player are left only with what we know from Ayame and Rikimaru's perspectives. We are just as shocked and confused as they are. We don't just witness their sense of betrayal, we share it. Throughout the remainder of the campaign, and still only through the eyes of the other 2 protagonists, we witness Tatsumaru commit many sins. He assassinates his former mentor, he brutally scars Rikimaru, he threatens to kill Ayame, and he kidnaps innocents for labour work. We are conditioned to believe that Tatsumaru is gone and only Siru remains. Or at least so it would seem. In completing Rikimaru and Ayame's campaigns, the player is exposed to Tatsumaru only a few more times. We are never given a full explanation of Siru. In fact, the game deliberately refuses to give us one. The closest we come to this is in a moment when Ayame confronts him and he seems to waver.
Have you really forgotten everything? Can't you remember any of it? All that time we spent together.
Ayame.
He seems to recover some of his memories. He quickly dismisses this moment and threatens that if he ever sees her again, he would kill her. He then retreats. Finally, at the end of Ayame's campaign, they do indeed see each other again. Ayame defeats Tatsumaru in a duel, and we get the final clue that something here isn't right. Concluding Tatsumaru's story, Ayame takes up Izayoi, but hesitates. Tatsumaru takes hold of his blade and stabs himself, declaring that he has committed unforgivable sins. The credits roll and the player is left reeling. So much has been left unsaid and unshown, and to our minds we have finished the game. However, once you try to start the game again, we realise that in the menu we have in fact unlocked Tatsumaru's campaign. We can finally see what really happened. The developers were hiding this the entire time. They must have known that we would be left wanting from the 2 campaigns we played and invite us to play it again for the true answers. By the way, if you've made it this far into the video, let me know in the comments, how did you feel when you first saw Tatsumaru's betrayal? Did you see it coming? I'd be interested to hear about it. In beginning Tatsumaru's campaign, we see what happened at the other end of the cliff collapse. He and Kagami are washed up on shore, but he awakens with no memory. Kagami, seeing her opportunity, convinces him that he is Siru, one of the lords of her burning dawn. With nothing else to go on, Tatsumaru becomes her willing pawn. Finally taking control of Tatsumaru, we as the player begin to see a total inversion of Tenchu's usual mission structure, which immediately begins to reinforce the narrative that Tatsumaru himself is also a victim, not just a perpetrator of the betrayal. The game forces us to be complicit in his downfall. While playing the previous 2 campaigns, we would often have goals like never harm the innocent and rescue Princess Kiku, or have to play through missions wherein being detected is listed as an immediate fail state and game over. Things that would apply the Azuma Ninja Code, forcing the player to adopt a minimalist, stealthy, and morally good playstyle, hammering home through gameplay that innocent lives matter, unnecessary killing is wrong, or as the game often puts it, live by honor, kill by stealth. During Tatsumaru's campaign, his goals are seen to be the exact opposite. Things like kidnap the innocent, or you must kill every Goda soldier. You as the player are literally forced to murder every person on the map before you're allowed to proceed. It forces the player to abandon the very code of ethics the game spent hours teaching us, just like Tatsumaru. The difference is that we understand this is happening. Tatsumaru, or indeed Siru, does not. The final reveal of Tatsumaru's story comes from his perspective in one pivotal scene with Ayame. She appeals to their shared history in a conversation under a familiar cherry blossom tree, and we finally see Tatsumaru remember the truth. Yet he still threatens Ayame and flees. It's an understated moment, but there is a lot to garner from it. At this point in the game, Tatsumaru has already committed unforgivable crimes. He has murdered his former mentor, enslaved civilians, and drew swords against his former allies. Now that he remembers his past life, it is precisely because he is the honourable man that we know him to be that he cannot return to it. He knows that while acting as Siru, he went too far. He knows that under the Azuma Code he must now die, and we as the player finally understand this because we committed these acts as well. We now know why in his final duel with Ayame he decides to end his own life. Echoing the words of Shionsai,
If he has dishonored himself, only death at the hands of an Azuma ninja will purify him.
the redeemed Tatsumaru does indeed die at the hands of an Azuma, his own hands. He has become an Azuma once again in his final moments. He dies upon Izayoi, the very blade he was entrusted with when appointed as leader of the clan, as it becomes the instrument of his death and his redemption. I personally think the way the developers were able to weave three narratives together in Tenchu 2 was very impressive, and even more so that they found a way that the very gameplay itself drives the twists further into the player's mind. But what do you think? If you think I missed anything or have anything further to add, or just plain disagree, I'd love to get a discussion going below in the comments, and if you want to see more Tenchu related content, please consider subscribing for more. If you did enjoy this video and like the Tenchu soundtrack, you may want to check out this full recreation of Sarame from Tenchu Wrath of Heaven, or if you're a fan of gaming deep dives, this lore video about the Suikoden series. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.